Another start of another beautiful day here in Tiberias, Israel, on the banks of the Galilean Sea. And we're off for another day of adventures touring.
Before anybody gets up and says anything too serious, I thought I would tell you all that that exact deck 2 years ago when we were here is the scene of probably one of my most embarrassing moments. And so I thought, people have come up to me and said, gosh, Bill was giving you such a hard time. And I said, yeah, but I really deserve it most of the time. And so anyway, we had some photographs taken a couple of years ago. And I'm standing next to Bill, and I don't know about most of you women, but when you're standing next to your husband, you might lean over and, put your arm around their waist. And so anyway, I'm standing next to Bill, and he looks at me and he goes, "Is that your hand on my butt?" And I looked at him. I mean, he is a minister. I was like, oh my gosh, possibly. And at that point I said, I didn't squeeze it, did I? And he said no, and I said, okay, well, can you forgive me? So anyway, we don't want to be too serious on this trip. Although the theme of this trip is fun with substance, right? So anyway, so I'll try to transition a little bit to the substance. For those of you who are not Peachtree Road members, the name of our Sunday school class is called New Beginnings. And I think it's kind of a good theme for this trip because I think there have been lots of new beginnings here, new things you've learned, new friendships and new relationships, and it really is so much about the people. And told people before we came that you're going to learn a lot no matter how much you know when you get here. But Bill will say this at the end of the trip, but I like to give people a little heads up. So he'll say at the end of the trip something about that this trip is going to change you. And when we joined our church, a minister asked you to support the church with your prayers, your presence, your gifts, your service, and your witness. And I think that this trip becomes part of your witness, no matter even if it's just talking about, the big explosions last night at the Go on Hikes or something. But it does become part of your witness. So just to plant that seed. The other thing, I always like to be practical in my helping out the fellow travelers. So we're heading to Jericho, great hotel here. It was really great for me because I was sick last trip and ended up spending an entire 24 hours in the bathroom. So this is a nice bathroom there. But I did say we then head to Jerusalem to the Olive Tree Hotel. So my warning about the Olive Tree is it has no bar soap. All right, so for those of you who they just have shower gel. So for those of you who like to have a bar soap, be sure to grab one or two from the Jericho Hotel if you didn't bring it. I did put that on our list of things to bring, but at any rate. So that is, I like to be practical about these things. Water shoes, bar soap, whatever. Probably will have a few more tips as we go along, but anyway. So there you go. A little fun with substance, hopefully.
Very good.
Hello. I want you to look here to the left to see this water. This is hot water spring comes from to the right. Those waters here to the right. There are many hot water springs around the lake, and I think this explains why there were many sick people around this area, lots of disabled ones. I think the hot water springs recruited them for healing, as we will go to hot springs these days for healing.
I have my microscopic print Bible with me here. So hold on while I get my readers. This is chapter. First Samuel chapter 31. These places that are mentioned here, Sam's going to point out to us today. Now the Philistines fought against Israel, and the men of Israel fled before the Philistines, and many fell on Mount Gilboa. The Philistines overtook Saul and his sons, and the Philistines killed Jonathan and Abinadab and Okashua, the sons of Saul. The battle pressed hard upon Saul. The archers found him, and he was badly wounded by them. Then Saul said to his armor-bearer, "Draw your sword and thrust me through with it, so that these uncircumcised may not come and thrust me through and make sport of me." In other words, I'd rather have you kill me than let these infidel enemies of mine kill me. But his armor-bearer was unwilling, for he was terrified. So Saul took his own sword and fell upon it. When his armor-bearer saw that Saul was dead, he also fell upon his sword and died with him. So Saul and his 3 sons and his armor-bearer and all his men died together on the same day. When the men of Israel, who were on the other side of the valley and those beyond the Jordan, saw the men of Israel had fled, and that Saul and his sons were dead, they forsook their towns and fled. The Philistines came and occupied them. The next day, when the Philistines came to strip the dead, and that doesn't mean strip them naked, but they came onto the battlefield and looked for the spoils of war, they found Saul and his 3 sons fallen on Mount Gilboa. They cut off his head, stripped off his armor, and sent messengers throughout the land of the Philistines to carry the good news to the houses of their idols and to the people. They put his armor in the temple of Astarte, and they fastened his body to the wall of Beit Shean. But when the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead heard what the Philistines had done to Saul, all the valiant men set out, traveled all night long, and took the body of Saul and the bodies of his sons from the wall of Beit Shean. They came to Jabesh and burned them there. Then they took their bones and buried them under the tamarisk tree in Jabesh and fasted 7 days. So I think one of the most significant memories, at least for me, or the thing that I think about at this place, is that Saul and Jonathan and his brothers had their dead bodies placed on the wall, and loving, grieving patriots from Israel came and at the risk of their own lives took them down from the wall and had them more properly buried. Now that's the historical story of Beit Shean, where we're going to see our Roman era ruins.
It's a small crew.
Yeah.
And it's just a very simple, that when we were in the Sea of Galilee, I don't think I've ever felt closer to the Lord. It was just so emotional.
Anybody else feel that way yesterday? Thank you so much. Okay, let's...
We just passed over the Jordan
So,
again where it leaves.
we just ask that you
Goes
surprise
north.
us along the way with your powerful presence. Amen.
Amen. I think this is the north end of the lake.
Actually, you know, you don't have to have your eyes closed when you pray. Who told you that? Well, you came from...
I stand corrected. We're on the south end of the Sea of Galilee.
Back here for what they use for drinking. So the water that you will see in this part of the river is water that comes from hot water springs, salty water that they don't allow in the lake anymore. So it comes into the Jordan River and goes all the way down to the Dead Sea.
It's the Jordan River again.
Now, the Jordan River is the actual border between Israel and Jordan, the country of Jordan. So, in like in the middle of this valley, the Jordan River runs. And if you look there to the left, there's a watchtower. That's Jordan. That's in the country of Jordan. Usually there's a Jordanian flag there. That one, they opened the border, crossing border between Israel and Jordan, and now the Israelis can drive their cars into Jordan, and they can obtain a visa on the border, and Jordanians also can apply for a visa at the Israeli embassy in Amman and come and visit Israel. It's a Palestinian-Israeli conflict. In 1995, just a year almost after the peace agreement was signed, a Jordanian soldier was there at the watchtower that we saw earlier, and in front of him, like on the other side of the fence, was a field trip of Jewish students, children. I don't know the details, but I know that that Jordanian soldier opened fire at the Jewish kids and killed 7 of them. That was really a very big hit to the peace agreement, and of course, you know, very sad. The King of Jordan, the previous king, King Hussein, was a very wise king. I think his son is a wise king as well. I mean, they're really good politicians, and they are doing their best to their people. The king himself flew into Israel and went to each house of victims and you know, visited them and apologized for all of them.
Mangoes.
Okay, to the right, at the top of the mountain, there is you can see shortly some of the ancient walls at the top. There was a major Crusader fortress called Belvoir. See it now, maybe the top. A major Crusader fortress called Belvoir, and
Oh, there it is.
like it was like it got destroyed in 1189, which is 2 years after the Muslims took over Palestine. Muslims seized this fortress. It took them 2 years to break through the walls. Crusaders came to Palestine in 1099. So when Crusaders were here, the Christians of Palestine were fighting with Muslims, side by side with Muslims against them, because even the Christians here realized that Crusaders were occupiers, but they were not saviors for them. So the amphitheater that was used for mainly games is to the right. Right, and
Gladiators.
in the 2nd and 3rd century, thousands of Christians were killed in these ones. They were forced to fight with each other to entertain the Romans. Christians were forced to fight with wild animals, lions, tigers, even elephants. They used to bring these animals mainly from Africa and from India into here and to kill the Christians. And of course it was all about entertainment and discouraging people to convert and become Christians.
Beit Shean National Park. any given moment,
We passed that
Yes,
on the
we
bus.
passed that one, yes. Which was on the top of that mountain, the mountain that you see up there. Beit Shean was considered to be the second most important city after Megiddo. And the reason is the location. We talked about the location in Megiddo, how like it's located on a crossroad in Jezreel Valley and most of caravans pass through there. Same thing with Beit Shean. The Greeks they changed the name of this city, the settlement. It was called Beit Shean. The Greeks called it Sectopolis. And polis is a city, secto is or related to a group of like invaders, a group of like a nation came from, they think they came from like Asia. They invaded the Middle East and they were very tough, very strong fighters. See, like here, these cities, there was always a continuation of.
These are interesting things.
Yeah, it is very interesting.
A lot more heading up the hill than what they
Is that
were
Charlotte?
saying.
Charlotte, you gonna go up the hill? Charlotte? Okay. Take some pictures. It's a swimming pool. There goes a tram. We didn't leave Disney World, we're actually in Disney World. This is all a big hoax. This is their new exhibit in the Epcot. So this is the Israel exhibit that's been behind the scenes, and we're the first ones to see it.
It was it's like a gym for exercise, for entertainment, and also was a place of social activities. I mean, people will tell you in a second how they made this room hot. And after being in the hot room, they go outside that way, behind, to the frigidarium, which is where you have to reach from right to left, not left to right. So,
That's after the earthquake. Wow. Okay, that's the rest of our group.
Yep, there they go.
more women come in the morning than men, so they have the morning for women and evening for men. Now this is kind of part of, it's like a bath, you see. You can see this as these bricks here, they were used for insulation. Now here is a water pipe. You see the remains of a water pipe. And this was simply to collect the water, the rainwater from the roof to bring down to the cistern. This is like from the Christian era, probably from the 7th century, 6th, 7th century. And you can see a cross, painting of a cross. And this looks like a baptismal font.
You can see the plaster work, how it would look. A little bit better shape, but basically that's the idea. Flat Stanley. He goes everywhere.
Swimming pool, there is another swimming pool to the left. And here, see the toilets, the public bathhouse, or the public
Toilets.
bathhouse toilets. You can see how
Very similar to Ephesus where we were.
So you can see here how there were seats, okay, public, these are public, so they would sit. Underneath the seat there is a drainage, running water, okay, the drainage, and then in front of the seats, here you can see there's also a smaller water channel for people to wash themselves after using the toilet.
There was a fireplace back in that corner there.
Swastika. Okay. Now the swastika was not a bad symbol at that time. Actually, this symbol was way before. I mean, it's before Christianity. It was used by civilizations in the Far East as well as in Mesopotamia. A swastika in a building like this, you have to know that this was from the Christian era. Like even I don't know if you noticed that or not, the hotel where you stayed in Bethlehem, at the facade of the hotel, there is a swastika. Okay, but the swastika that you saw at that, have you seen it? You saw it, yeah? The swastika that you see at the hotel, not because it's a Palestinian hotel, no. That hotel was built in 1916 before Hitler and, okay? So that was, you see a swastika in a house.
Endless
that means
power
it's
of
a Jewish
Christ.
house.
It can keep expanding, 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 and the lines never cross.
Well, it would be always like religious symbol. But this bathhouse, this bathhouse is probably 2nd century. But like.
There's another amphitheater right there. It's not easy to see. There's a step here.
Okay. Yeah, we see it. Thank you. Thank you.
So like if you are in Ephesus, or here, or Rome, or Caesarea, or Gaza, or Carthage, or whatever, they're all the same. Simply because the Romans occupied the whole world, and they expected revolts to happen at any time.
The Romans built their cities
So
the
if
same
there
way.
is a revolt, for example, in Beit Shean, soldiers
He says
everywhere,
it's
you
like
go to
Walmart. You know your way around.
You know, you want like a good, colonnaded as you see.
Major north-south street.
It has 3 sections. This is where you are. This is where the horses and the chariot go down. Okay. The way it's not flat, it's done like this because we are in a valley, and it's drainage. So the drainage from the back houses, the dirty water will run in the middle, and also when it rains in the street, okay, the water will be a kind of holes and pipes on both sides, so water will end up in the middle. This is the walking street, okay, and next to the walking street is the shop. Okay, so the streets are very busy during the day, especially in the big city. With the merchants, street vendors, in different ways. And now this is all, this is usually the ones who did these carvings or carved the capitals, made these beautiful carvings, they were just ordinary laborers.
These aren't the original columns. The original columns were one piece, but they put these here to give you an idea of what it looked like.
The result of the earthquake on these columns, you see that all of the columns fell north because this is the earthquake. Now, See, you can never tell
Results of the earthquake.
columns. I mean, you know, they excavate till a certain point. Okay? So just to give you an idea, you see the columns that are standing over there? I think in the 70s or 80s, I don't remember exactly when, they were moving one of these columns. It was kind of the same condition like that one. They moved that column, and when they moved it,
Yeah, they still find dinosaurs periodically out there.
Yeah.
they used the original stones. Okay, so the stones, the seats that you see there, they are original from like 1800 years. They are not like redone.
Wow. I guess this was a skybox. Looks like a person with his or her hands up, way on the top of the mountain there.
Here we go to Disney.
All right, thank you for visiting our elaborate Israel pavilion here at Epcot.
Okay, so it will be 3 people in each seat.
We had you all fooled. You thought you were in Israel, but you were actually on the back lot of Epcot. They finally built the Israel pavilion. They finally built the pavilion. Please keep your hands and feet inside the tram at all times.
My birthday's in Colorado, and my sister and niece and my mother's was October.
Disney's Animal Kingdom is right next door.
3 years apart. Not even close.
Oh, really? And they would do a month ago.
It took everybody a while to exit the tram. There wasn't the usual announcement on the loudspeaker that we're used to in Disney World. All the Orlando people especially. Very musical place here.
I have to put in some kind of cogent form, but what they love about it is, like, when I say,
All right, pick a bus, any bus. I'm gonna pick the gold bus. Okay, I don't know if we have all these amenities on the bus. We get plenty of sun. I don't know about music. I don't know about a VCR. I definitely don't think there's wine. And, oh well, we got some of it. Just missed a tank going by. See if I can get a picture of it. Tank just went by on a flatbed.